After your part's been completed, we can now create the toolpath. What you don't want to do is create a new part and then go into prismatic machining. Oh boy. If I select prismatic machining now in a blank model, there's nothing there to work with. Actually imported something because it imported something, but there's nothing there. Okay, so dang, I didn't mean to do that. If I try and prismatic machine right now, there's no product for it to copy. So it's going to ask you to import something here, or an assembly or something, because it's got nothing to work with. So what you want to do is, I'm going to close these off. Whatever model you want to create an NC toolpath on, you make sure that model's active, and it will create an automatic link. So when I go to prismatic machining right now, you'll notice that the product is already checked. I don't have to do this process. There's a green check. So I got to start going down this list and getting things to check off. The configuration, we're going to skip all the way down to generic machine. You can reuse an existing one, but we're going to just start with generic machine. In this portion of the course, we're not going to do anything. We're just going to say okay and accept it. But I want to get you some information on this. The one we're accepting is actually the first one up here in the top left corner. That is the 3-axis machine. So we're just going to use a simple 3-axis machine to drill out these holes. The next one over is the rotary table on a 3-axis machine. So you can have that spinning, and then the next one over is your 5-axis machine. Okay, so those are the most common ones used. And then the last one is a mill turning machine. Okay, so we're gonna basically just stay in the 3-axis machine. You can select OK to that. We're not going to go into any of the tooling and the compensations, numeric controls. These outputs you will normally set wherever you go, whatever company you go to. So like usually this is some type of coordinates for the home position for your particular machine. That's where the tool cutter goes back to its home position while we're loading and unloading material. We can just leave it the same name, or you can change the name right now as we go. Three-axis machine, drill plate, and then in the comments, what you normally would have is what the design group is, who was the person that worked on this, who created the NC program, who are the design leads and supervisors, contact information, and whatever group information would normally be associated. Okay, we're not going to do any of that, so you can just say okay. So from now on, just know the resource. All you got to do is hit okay. Now we're going to do rough stock material. And we're going to just use a bar stock, same size as this. So I'm going to do rough stock. And it's asking to fill the part 3D shape and the part body. I'm going to hit the list over here on the tree and open that up. Shrink this down and expand this. Okay, now in most CATIA sessions you always got to highlight the fields, and this one you don't. I'm trying to show you right here, this says 3D shape, and this icon here is my 3D shape. Everything that's inside of it is the 3D shape right here. Notice that those icons look identical. So that's, in that sense, once you understand that, it's like, oh, cool. We're going to use the existing part because this part already exists. And I just click on that icon and it fills this information in here automatically. Now it's waiting for me to find this icon and click on that icon in the tree. You'll see that that icon right here is the part body and it matches. It's called the part body. This is called the part body. I didn't rename them. So that icon is the one I'm looking for. As soon as I click on that, it's going to change the selected part body to whatever I have over here. So I'll click on it and it changes it to my part number I'm using. The raw stock material for this example is the exact same size as my overall length, width, and height. If I were machining or facing parts off, I would have to increase the size of the raw material by hitting the minimum maximum values, or by stretching it out by grabbing the red lines on this scale. We will do this later. In this particular example, I don't need it, so I'm just going to go ahead and accept the raw material. When I say OK, it adds rough stock into the specification tree. You'll see here in the spec tree, it's added the rough stock. I still don't have a green check because I need to go to edit the part operation. And what we have to do first is establish my starting point on my axis. I'm going to select this point here. I think it took it. And I'm trying to grab this, it won't take it. But just for now, I'm going to pick the corner of that part. Once it turns green, it knows, hey, I've got a start position. Okay, I'm going to select OK to that. These have to all be green in order to continue. So the safety plane, you just click on that. And there's my safety plane. I click on that and it turns green. That lets me know that that has accepted that safety plane. It's asking for the rough stock material. I wish you could see that better over here in the left corner. I'm going to click on this and I'm going to pick the raw stock material. You think I could just grab it out of the tree? It'd be easiest. Doesn't work. I'll double click on it and what happens is it didn't take it. So I'm going to click this and you think you just grab it once, but you don't. You double click it. But again, you have to double click it immediately, otherwise it won't take it. So when you grab that plane, double click this immediately. Oh, great. And then it will take that rough stock material. Now I'm not using any clamps or fixtures to hold the plate in place. I'm just pretending like it's a pneumatic machine where I have suction cups holding it down, or it's a vacuum suction down into place. So now what I got to do is get my part. You can kind of make that this coloring looks a little different. It's because the rough stock is sitting exactly on top of the part. If I hide the rough stock in the specification tree, I find that the easiest way to do that. With the rough stock hidden, I should be able to grab the part design and double click on the part itself. Once these are all green, you can say OK. So I've defined everything I need. I don't have a fixture or a clamp that's holding it, so I don't need to define that. So this will be set up number 1 and we'll say OK. I've got my green check. And now it wants to know what size cutter you want to use. And I'm not going to import any cutters. I'm going to make all my own. So I got to use the resource creation. So I'm going to use resource creation and I'm going to select the drill. Under drill item, you got to expand the drill item. It's probably going to default to mill, but you got to expand the drill item. Pick this drill and then change the name right here. Well, let's just go to resource. I'll change the name right here. 1/4 inch cutter. And then we'll go into our geometry. Oh, no. We'll go into our geometry and I'm going to see if this will keep working for me or not. You can click right out here and change the value. That's also the first one on the list. I'll change that to 1/4 inch. Whoops. I just hit enter. That's one of the problems with this. Since I didn't mean to hit enter, I'll look in the list. There's my cutter. Oh, shoot. This is interesting. Let me go back to resource. Oh, good. It didn't take that yet. All right. So we can change the lengths by doing a couple things. You can edit the values. I'm going to hide the tree for a sec. Oh, no. Or you can click on these in the graphics window and change the values if that's easier for you to be able to see what's going on. I don't need this that tall. Like this 2.5 inches tall. Alright, so you can edit the values to whatever you need. There's a standard heights and all that, but for clarity, I'm just gonna put these in like so. Let's go 16th. So I'll do 1/16 and hit tab. Okay. So I've got all my geometry defined for the cutter. Most companies you work with, that's already going to be defined. Hey, I thought I changed that. Select OK. It's interesting. I think I'm changing that somewhere else. No, that I'm thinking about it. So we'll select OK to that. Oh, it's saying it already exists because I've done this 100 times already with that same name. I don't need any more. I don't get a green check because for all it knows I need to do 10 more. So I think it should give me something saying you're okay to move on, but I don't get that. So I'm just going to close these off. And programming, we're going to, sorry, the feature, recognition, the options. We're going to skip all the options for right now. And we're going to skip right to the program. Under the program, we're going to do, I'm going to do axle machining for this one. And then there's axle machining here. And I'm going to use this one, which is the drill, which is the same one I picked off the tools. So I picked the drill. Now, you're waiting for it to do something and it's waiting for you. I got to come up and click program 1. This is where I want the drill to happen. So I click on that. Then I hit the drill. And then this window will come up. Now, this text is horrible. I don't know how anybody could read this. I don't know how to make this bigger yet. Hopefully someone can show us what to do to adjust this because I can't make heads or tails of this. I'm going to drill out this first hole. And what you do to drill out the first hole is I select the side walls of the hole on the pop-up window. So they're pink, and what we got to do is we got to get them all green. So I pick on this, and you got to make sure you grab on the inside surface of that hole. And you think you just grab it, but you have to double click it. If you got it right, it will come in green, letting you know that it's established the inside hole. I need to also establish the top, so there's a small pink line on the top that's horizontal. And I grab the top surface, and now it knows to grab the entire top surface, okay? Now we got to know how far we go through the part. So I'm going to go ahead and select this bottom. You can barely make it out. I got my pre-select navigator on so I can try and grab it. And I'm going to rotate this around and get the bottom plate. It's fully green. I should have showed you here that this wasn't green yet until I got all of those done. So this turned green. I can't run a simulation yet because we got to get everything on the top row to be yellow or green, and where I see red, it needs something. So I'll select on the red, and it's telling me you don't have a tool in here. I defined the cutter, but I don't have it in there, so I'm gonna hit the triple dot, and what I want to do is turn the tree on by hitting F3 to get the tree back because I turned it off. And this is the cutter that I created, the 1/4 inch cutter. So I'm going to click on that, and it adds the cutter to my list up here. And it also turns this green. Select on this. My approach, plunge, and all that is active. Okay, so that's on. And then you could create your approach and retract macros. What I'm going to do is click on this. You have to double click it, and then right down here on the bottom, I'm going to add a motion to a face or plane. So I click on that icon and I highlight the pink, and I click my safety plane because that's going to clear the part here. And then that turns green, so I know it's okay. And I'm going to do the same thing for the retract. Right now, the parentheses means it's inactive. If I double click it, I'm making it active. I can click on this motion again, motion up to plane, hit the plane, and then choose the plane here. Now that's green. This is yellow. These are all green, so I should be good to go. I'll select OK. I'll select play just to verify it's happening. I'm going to hit play. Again, that went really fast, so I changed my settings. If there's a great big part and a lot going on, you might want to go faster. But this is so small that when I hit play, it happens so fast I can't even tell what's happening. Okay, I'll bring that down again. I'll hit play again. So I just drilled the hole. Now I want to drill all the other holes. So I'm going to exit out of the player. That means exit, by the way. This means options. Okay, so I'm going to hit exit. And I'm going to go back to the very first one. I could drill all those holes one at a time, and it'd work fine. But I did create a pattern. So I can use that pattern to drill all those holes, so I'm not doing them all one at a time. So I'm going to click down here in the bottom of this pop-up window. I'm going to define a toolpath repetition, and patterns are repetitions. So when I click on this, you have a repetition by axis to axis, a repetition by translation for X, Y, Z direction, or line direction, rule direction. But the one we're going to use is the pattern. You could do circular, user-defined, or what I'm going to do in this case is a rectangular pattern. So I click on this one here, and it's asking for a pattern. So I'm going to go try and find this in my tree. I'm going to move this window out of the way, hopefully, and pick the tree and open the tree and find in the part body that pattern. Now, don't click on it a whole bunch. Just click it one time, and you'll see if you zoom down so you can see your part, it's going to drill this hole 1 through 10. And you could uncheck them, but we're going to do all the holes. Now that that's been done, I just simply hit OK. And I hit OK, and that should be done. I'll verify it by hitting Toolpath Replay in the bottom right corner. And then I'll hit the settings to slow it down as much as I can. And then you just close that off. It's hard to tell which is which when they're all overlapping each other. I'm going to slide this down. By the way, that's another thing I could do is just get this out of the way with these bars. I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and there we have it. This is your first operation that you've created was doing the drill holes. Okay, again, I'm supposed to be able to exit out. Say okay, we've now accepted that. I'm missing, somehow this activation got pulled out. I'm going to try and drop it back in. Nope. I've got this active. I've got this active. I'm going to try and hit the play button, which is supposed to be the same as this. So I'm going to hit play up here. Oh no. I'll try with this active to, well, double click the drill and hit play again. Okay, so that was just, again, real quick. This settings or options goes away when this window gets too small, so you got to expand it out if you want to slow that down. All right, that concludes the exercise on how to do the drill holes. Hopefully you'll have luck and be able to get this done. If you got it done, or even if you didn't get it done, skip it. Try the next one and see if you can get the next one to work. It's going to be pocketing. Or no, I'm going to do a perfory cut.